So in the last session, what we discussed? Okay, the last topic we discussed was DOM, right? So what is our today's topic? Okay, so now let's jump into the function. We should have completed functions before loops and all, but we just missed. Okay, the topic, no issues. So today, before jumping into the functions, I just wanted to know one more topic, nothing but hosting. Okay, so is anybody have idea what is meant by hosting? Anybody have any idea? Yeah. Okay. So whenever you run any functions, like whenever you in a browser or whenever you run JavaScript in any JavaScript environment, so there will be two phases generally. For example, you just did a console only. Console maybe whatever you code you write in JavaScript. So when it went to the browser, okay, where you actually see the output, okay, in the browser or any JavaScript environments where you actually check this output, okay. So there will be two phases which happens in the background, okay. So those are nothing but compilation phase and the execution phase, okay. So generally, for example, whenever you just started and like creating a variable, okay, and if you want to access it without defining, what is the output you will get? You just created a variable and you didn't mention didn't define it. Sorry, defined but didn't declare given any value to it. But you want to access it. What is the output you will get? Undefined. Why? Because there I was created a variable, identifier I wanted, but I wasn't given any value to it. Okay, so automatically it will give the undefined. So whenever you come with the hosting, so it's a similar way that you will get the output. For example, so let me give yeah. So let me take an example. So hosting is the one which will help us to access the declared variables even before the execution. So that means, for example, I have declared variable name is equal to some Manoj or something at line number like 10. But I was trying to access that variable at the line number 2. That means just before, very long before the declaration. So usually what it will do, it will give undefined, right? So, but sometimes the hosting will even not give undefined, it will take the value just with the concept of hosting. So what is this hosting concept does in JavaScript is, for example, let me write here console.log of x. Okay, I given as x. Now I'll give like variable x is equal to 5. Now what will be the output? Tell me. What is the output we'll get? 5 or undefined? What is the output we got? Undefined. Okay. So here if you see, we didn't got the not defined. There is a difference between not defined and undefined. What is the difference? Not defined in the sense there will be no variable at all, nothing is declared. But undefined means we have declared it, but we didn't assign any value to it, but we are trying to access it. But here if you see, I have declared my, where is it? Variable at line number 11. But before that one I was trying to execute. That means there is no anywhere I don't have my variable already declared, then it should give me not defined, but I was getting as undefined. Why? Because as I mentioned, there'll be two phases, compilation phase, execution phase. So whatever the lines of code you run in JavaScript, once it go to the browser or JavaScript environment, it will run them all in the which phase? Compilation phase. That means it will compile everything. So once the compilation is done, then only it will send that whole code to the execution phase. So when these two lines went into the compilation phase, what happens there? In the compilation, first it will run the first line. What is the first line? Console.log of x. So it will check for automatic, it will give not defined. Okay, it will store in the compilation phase only. It will not sending it to the execution phase. So then second phase, what happens? It will go with the next line. So what is that next line? Variable x is equal to 5. So now what happens? I got the value. There is a value called x is there, right? So what happens? Already I was trying to access the x. It's already given some value to it. That is nothing but undefined. It value is assigned. Memory space allocation, we call it as in the JavaScript language. So there is a memory space allocated for the particular x value in the console line. So what happens when it comes to the execution phase, it will carry that particular memory allocation. So automatically when we run that, what happens? We'll get the undefined only. For example, the same line, if I remove it, what is the output we got? X is not defined. Why? Because in the compilation phase, it created a memory allocation, but there is no variable declared in anywhere in my code execution to check. So that's why it will give me the not defined. So the same concept is what my execution usually hosting takes. Okay, hosting basically works on this particular concept, nothing but execution phase and the compilation phase. So last time, where is he? Last one out. Okay, leave. So don't forget that whenever you declare anywhere, hosting is working this way that you can declare anywhere that my variable, or anywhere you can declare the identifiers, but you can access these at any top of this. Okay, that means usually my execution comes from top to bottom. My hosting helped me to access the variables from child to the parent instead of from parent to child. For example, if you just take the same example hosting method in the form of functions. Okay, so let me take a function called say hello. Okay, so this is the function I wanted to call. Okay, I was just calling before the writing a function. Now what I'll do, now I'll give the function. So function like say hello. Okay, then like console.log of hello everyone. Okay, so now if you see, now tell me what will be the output. So function I was calling before the function even declare it. I didn't even written the function or anywhere, but before that I was trying to execute it. What will be the output I'll get? Tell me what will be the output? I'll get output of exact same. If I let me reload, why I was getting undefined, it shouldn't be undefined. Say hello. Okay, sorry. So what is the output I was getting? Hello everyone. I was not getting undefined here. Why? See, there is a difference between the variable declaration and the function declaration. See, when I was declaring the variable, it was storing a value there. But when I accessing a function, what I was telling, so access this function. If you say it's in the code, it's not a variable, it's a function that I was calling. So what is the calling will mention usually? It means that whenever I access this line, it will call the function name called as say hello, wherever it may be, it should call, right? So same way in the compilation phase, what it will do, it will just execute that line. So it will tell that, okay, it will keep on loop. Okay, I need to run this function. So it will search for that particular function in the whole compilation code. Okay, so there it will find out this particular function. Is it find out or not? So there, what is the difference between variable and here is function is searching execution, but variable, it is trying to access the storage value. Variable already a storage value is assigned to it. It was trying to access it, but it is not possible because already given and it came out to the execution phase. So same way, but when it comes to the function, my function name I was calling, when it comes to the execution, again it will execute there also, right? It will say search for say hello. So when it was searching there, what happens? Automatically in the compilation phase, already I have a function what is there. So automatically when it is executed, what happens? It will check that, okay, there is a function already in my compilation phase. So I need to check for that function where it is. So it will check for that and it will execute it. So that's why we are not getting undefined here. We are getting it as the output. So that is how hosting is work. The hosting, what it is doing in the compilation phase, the say hello function is hosted up. Okay. So it was just hosted from line number 16 to the line number 15. So that is what the whole hosting concept work on the two phases. One is compilation phase and the execution phase. If you know more about these two phases, you can the way of writing code will be completely changed. Why? Because even a normal variable that you write and declare, it can be done with hosting can affect it. Okay. So the hosting work can't be same in the let and constant. How it works for the variable. Okay. For example, variable work in one way and let and constant will work in one way. Why? Because variable is a global scope, but let and constant are the block level scope. Definitely. So that is the reason why the way how hosting works always changes based on the declaration that you taken and also the what is the type of function you are taken. Clear? Okay, so it always depends on the variable declaration. Okay. So now let's go with the functions now. Okay. So what is the topic we discussed here? First topic hosting, and it always depends on for this it goes through steps of nothing but what is the phases? What are the two phases, Ra? Compilation phase and execution phase. So try to check more about these two phases. Okay, you will get to know more details about JavaScript in these two. So how a JavaScript once you run, JavaScript will not compile. It's not a compiler. It's an interpreter. But inside it compiles. So if you want to know how it compiles, how JavaScript works as a compiler, also you need to know these phases. So try to check these two phases so that you will know how JavaScript usually work. Clear? Is it clear? Okay. So now let's jump into our main topic, which is nothing but functions. So what is meant by a function? What is a function? So function will be called as the cornerstone or building block of any framework. Why? Because, for example, just imagine like what we can say. Just example where we can say. Okay, just imagine what we have in a daily life. For example, just imagine a fan only, which you are using in the daily life. For example, if you want to use the fan, you will not use 24/7. You will use whenever you need it. So if you want to use whenever you need it, every time if you are doing wiring, every time you need to do the wiring, and if you want to switch on the fan, easy. Or just wiring is done once, and I was arranging a particular switch, and whenever I click on that switch, I was expecting the output of the fan. That will be easy. Which will be easy? Switch. Where is in the second phase? I was already done the process, but that in the process I was not doing again and again. See, same every time when I switch on, I was passing the electricity, right? So in the excuse me. Anybody got? Why? Okay. So in the second phase, what we are doing, already my electricity is passing. I was just breaking it and I was using whenever I was needed. Okay. So in the same way, functions are like a building blocks or the corner blocks of JavaScript. Why? Because so it will help me to arrange my code and reuse my code whenever I need it. And it will also reduce the modularity of my code. What is the purpose of this? For example, if I want to run some function like calculating a age or something, every time if I want to write a new code, what happens? It will be issue. For example, one user, I written one code. For other user, again, I need to write the same code. It will be headache. But by using functions, what I can do, the method, what will be helping me to create that for particular output, I'll write that method, but the values that what I'll do, I'll give dynamically. For example, I want to give his details, I'll give individually. If I want to give other person details, I will not give the whole function. I'll just pass my details into that particular function. Okay. The same as class. What is the purpose of selectors or class? What is it will do? It is just reducing my code instead of declaring again and again. So it was once I declared and I reuse it whenever I needed and with the values whichever I needed. So functions are a cornerstones of good practice programming practice. Okay. So they promote code organization, modularity, like reusability, and also maintainability. Make it easier to develop and maintain the large scale functionalities or complex software systems. Okay. So that is the purpose of the function. Simply to say, it's just a reusability purpose. We'll use the functions. So if you go with the functions, totally we have 8 type of functions. 8 type of function. So among them, first one is the function declaration. Okay. Declaration. So second one will be the function expression. Okay. So next one will be arrow functions. Okay. So arrow functions, anonymous functions. So it is also mostly these anonymous functions will be used for callbacks. Okay. So used for callbacks. So next, IAF. Anybody have idea? Okay. Immediately invoke function expressions. Where I was writing. Sorry. Immediately invoke function expressions. Okay. So next one will be generator functions. So next one will be constructor. Okay. It's not construction. Constructor functions. And last one will be the, which we already seen, built-in functions. Okay. So these are some of the functions that we will be going to discuss now. So the function, the way of writing will be same, but the particular scenario, in which scenario or what, on which purpose, which thing need to be used, which particular function type will help us in more effectively. That's what makes this differentiate from each other. Before going to the functions, we need to know the difference between two things. One is arguments and parameters. Anybody have idea what is mean by arguments or parameters? No idea. No issues. So I'll just explain. With first one, we'll just go with the function declaration. Okay. So a function declaration is the way to define a function in JavaScript using the keyword which is called as it can be called with the keyword of function. As we have already seen in the previous examples, whichever the function we created, the keyword that we included before the function name is function. Every time we are declaring that name there. So such type of functions will be called as function declarations. So in this, the main thing is the function key name. So in this type of function declarations, it can be hosted. That means what is it means? So that means this function can be accessible even before it was being declared. That means I can call this function at the starting line and I can even declare that function at the ending line. So because my function declaration give me the privilege of accessing the hosting facility. Clear? So for example, if we just take a simple example how this function will work. function declaration, right? Yeah. The first man, it was going to this one simply. Yeah. So let me take an example like syntax. You already know what is the syntax we will take. Function, like, and then we'll go with the name of that function. We'll give any name that I can take. So let us go with one of the multiplication. So I'll give multiply. So I'll multiply and it will be given with the parenthesis like this. So this is the basic syntax of any function declaration. So if you see here, there is a keyword function is declared just before my function name, right? And I was also able to pass my parameters here. Okay, so for example, now I'll write return A into B. Okay, return A into B, I written like this. So now if you see, did I given any values here? No, right? But still I need to, I can use this function. The main purpose of function is reusability with different values. So what I'll do, for example, I'll give like constant, I'll give like constant, I'll take constant result is equal to 3 comma 4. Just imagine I was declared a constant with two values 3 comma 4. Now if I console.log of result, what will be the output I'll get? What will be the output I'll get? Will I get any output? Why? There is no relation with my function and these values, right? Then why I'll get output? So if I want to make a relation, then what I need to do? I need to pass my function with the values. Okay. So for example, I given like this, just imagine A comma B. So now if you go to the output, what will be my output? Am I getting 12 or not? So if you see here, first I was given A comma B. Then I was given here 3 comma 4. It is both are same. Like for example, instead of values, I don't give any values here. I'll just call this function. So for a constant result, I was just calling this function. But instead of A comma B, I'll give 3 comma 4 here itself directly. Okay. So now tell me what will be the output. What will be the output that what is the problem? Parameter declaration. Sorry, it will not allow. It is not allowing. It is not defined now. What is the file name? Functions, right? This local storage issue will be too hectic. Still is not. Why we are getting function we are calling here multiply, return A into B, constant result is equal to multiply of 3 comma 4 conjugate log of result. Hosting is not working here. Let me go with other example. Hmm. Okay. So if you see here, so in the function itself, I was passing two parameters here. Okay, A comma B. But those values, I didn't declare any numeric value, which type of data I was passing, I was not mentioning anywhere. But it was just automatically taking with 3 comma 4 in the place of A comma B. Why? Because here there are two things. One, this is the called as the params and this is the arguments. Why we call it is, so whenever the user thinks that he don't have the exact value, for example, the value will be always dynamic. Okay, I was getting a dynamic value, so I don't have a static value every time. So that static value, if I have, I can write directly 3 comma 4 and I can execute. But I wanted to access a dynamic value every time. So in that case, I just need to hold some space for that. So that's where I was passing the parameters. Parameters I passed A comma B. But argument is nothing but the value assigned for that particular function execution. Okay. So that is the difference between arguments and params. Sometimes in few functions types, we can directly pass the values only here. In that case, we no need to write the arguments. Parameters will not be useful there because directly I was passing the arguments. So whenever you are passing a temporary storage, then those will be called as the parameters. And when you are passing a value to that particular function expression, so those will be called as the arguments. Okay, don't get confused between these two. Interview they'll ask. Okay, so what is the difference between arguments are parameters? Okay, don't ever get confused. Okay, so this is how my basic function declaration will work with the keyword of function. Clear? So now next one will be function expression. Okay. So function expression. So this function expression is a way to define function within an expression. That means it assigns an anonymous function. Okay, for example, let me take constant. Constant add is equal to what I'll take. I'll take like function of same. What we did in the top, we are doing the same thing here. But what is the difference here? What is the difference between top and bottom one? Return, I'll give x plus y. Okay. So what is the difference between these two? See, both are having the functions only. Here, if you see, it's a function multiply a comma b. It's a individual function declaration. But here, if you see, my whole function is assigned to one of the variable. So whenever user access constant add if he access, what he'll get? He'll get the function automatically it will call. For example, now what I'll do, directly I'll give like constant result 1, result of result A is equal to, I'll give like add of, what is the function? Constant name, add only, right? So I'll give like 3 comma 5. So then I'll give like console.log of, what is the value that I need to access? Result. Yeah, what will be the output I'll get? See, 8. So now if you see here, I was declaring my function. I can even call this function directly only, like function declaration. But function expression, what we are doing, the whole expression, I was just assigning it to a variable, any identifier. So whenever user accesses this particular identifier, what happens? He will be able to access this function. And that function now, if you see, now even I can give add 3 comma 5 I given. So I can do something else like result b is equal to what I'll do, add of 9 comma 6. Okay. So now if you see result b, if I give, am I getting output or not? So did my function is changed here? My function is not changed. Even my declaration is not changed. My expression is same constant, but I was just changing the values, whichever I needed. Okay. So that is the advantage of using the function. That's how functions will help us. So function will help us to reduce the execution of lines again and again, and it will help us to access the same function with multiple values. Clear? So that's what about function expression. Is anybody have any doubts with this? Clear until here? Sure. Nobody have any doubts. Shall I continue to next topic? So next one will be arrow function. So anybody have any idea about what is meant by an arrow function? Tell me, anybody have any idea? చెప్పాక functions చదవమని. No idea. Okay. So next one will be arrow function. So an arrow function is a concise way to write functions in JavaScript. Okay. So it was introduced in the ECMAScript. Which ECMAScript? ES6, in which 2015 they have introduced this arrow function. Okay, it's the concise way. So what is the advantage of using this arrow function is it will give the shorter syntax. Okay, so whenever I feel that this function is very short syntax and I want to call it very quickly, okay, in such cases, instead of compared to the traditional function type, we will go with this arrow function. Clear? So if you go with the basic syntax, you already know what is the basic syntax. For example, let me take constant. So if I execute this with the parameters, in the parameters name, if I give values, and in the function name, if I give a function name, so what will be the output I'll get? Tell me what I'll get. So simply to say, let me take it as an expression. I don't want to confuse you. Okay. So just imagine the same function what you write traditional way, you written on the top. Just compare it with the same thing here. So what I was doing, I was declaring my function and I was assigning that to a with parameters I was taking before even calling my function even getting started before. I was directly passing my parameters here, and then I was passing my expression, whatever I need to execute. If you take directly jump into the example, like for example, like the same will take the output then. What the fuck? Okay, so let me take constant numbers. Okay, so I'll take like 1 to 10. I'll take. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I wanna get output of which numbers? Even numbers, okay, or odd numbers. I need any particular type. I need to extract from this array. So how I can do that? I can use the logic like now if you see constant even numbers. Okay. So the function name I taken. Then what I was doing, I want to pass my parameters, right? So what will be my parameters? I don't have any two. I have multiple parameters. So I need to access a whole array. So here I'll use the numbers dot filter method. Okay, filter method, what it will do? Filter will check each and every execution of my content. So filter of, so I need to check each and every value every time. For example, let me give whole thing and I'll explain how it will work usually. Okay. Now I'll give like number percentage to equal to 0. Okay. Log off. So now first let's see output and then we'll see how it actually working. So if I reload, so what I got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 even numbers which will be divided by 2. So here what happened? First line, if you check here, we just declared an array here. Okay. So then what we are doing? So the filter we are using. So what is the filter here? So filter is a array method that used to filter the elements in an array to on based on the provided condition. So whatever the condition you provide, so based on that condition, it will filter the elements in the within an array. It's an array method. Okay, filter. So it takes the callback function as an argument. Basically, it works on the callback function as it will take as argument and it will work. So then what I was doing now within the numbers, I need to execute each and every number to check the value, whether 1 is equal percentage 2 is equal to 0 or not. So what I'll do, I was taking a particular identifier called as parameter number. I was taking a parameter number and I was passing that here to the, and it was checking that parameter with this condition. Okay. So first I was getting the parameter here and my this is what called as, it is called as bold arrow, fat arrow also we call it as. Okay. So this arrow function, what it was doing, it was just giving my expression. If you compare it here, so constant I declared here, and then what I was doing, function name, I was passing my parameter as however it was passing x comma y. In the same way I was passing number here. Okay, you can give any name it is. So number I was passing as a parameter and I was checking my condition. Whatever I was writing in the down, I was writing after the arrow. Okay, so arrow function will even count in this way also you can write. How? For example, this is the syntax, this type of syntax also you will get in arrow function. Okay, so what we are doing, we are just comparing my by using the filter. I was just checking each and every value one by one. First I will pass 1 here, 1. Okay, so 1 is percentage to equal to 0 or not? No, boolean value automatically false it will go, so it will not print that value. Okay, so second it will go with 2, it comes true, so it will store that value in the which constant, even number. So every time I filter, it will just take the output of boolean value and it will just send it to the inside. Clear? So basically arrow functions useful for short or one-off functions, like one-off function, whichever we written, like single-handed functions, single line, or very short functions where I was declaring my values directly or somewhat. In such cases we'll use these arrow functions. Okay, so the main purpose of this using these arrow functions over the traditional is it can be easily readable. Okay, short functions, if you want to write in a traditional way, it will be more lengthy. But if I use with the arrow functions, I can write this in a very simple manner. I can use. That doesn't mean that I need to use only arrow function with this. Okay, for a short function, even I can use the bigger functions where in the nested times we will get it. For example, it's a bigger function and inside I have a short functions that I need to access quickly. In such cases, you will write these arrow functions to make it more modernized. Okay, so before going to the next type, there is a word called as this will get, one of the major word that you're going to use in the advanced JavaScript. Okay, so what is this is? This is a JavaScript keyword, refers to the current construct of the object. That means, for example, this class, if I mention that, what it means? I was mentioning about only particular class where I was sitting. Okay, so in the same way, when I was accessing this dot particular person, I said, okay, so for example, if I give this dot one name, if I give any of you, what it means, so it was checking only this class name, so I was not checking out of the class name. So in the same way, functions also, if you are any values that you are declared into your functions, and you can access them directly by using this keyword context. Okay, so basically how it will work, the behavior of this can be somewhat complex and context dependent. Okay, so this will be little hard to access. Why? Because we can't predict how the output will be in different scenarios. Okay, why? Because as I mentioned already, let is a one block level scope, variable is a block level scope, and constant is one type of block level scope. So whichever the based on how you take, it will change the way of output it will give. For example, let us write this function in a some illustrator way. Let us take a practical example. This keyword. Okay. So now let me write a function. Don't worry about what we are using or things. Let's see how it will work. That's enough for us. Function. I'll take a regular function. Okay. So now what I'll do, this dot value, okay, is equal to 42. Okay, I just assign one value here, 42 to it. So now what I'll do, I'll write a predefined function type, set timeout. Set timeout is a predefined JavaScript function type. So what I'll do, I'll write one more function in this. What is the function I'll write? Function console.log of. I want to access the this dot value. This dot value I want to access. Okay. So I've taken a set timeout method, and within that I was writing one function. Okay. And I will be passing a value like 1000 here. Come on. 1000 in the sense 1 second. So what the set timeout basically was doing, JavaScript is synchronous or asynchronous? Swan. Is JavaScript is synchronous or asynchronous? What is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous? Tell me, what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous? Synchronous in the sense the code will be executed line by line. For example, there are 10 people, okay, in a queue. So everyone is submitting their passport or something, they're submitting document. So if I'm a synchronous, what I'll do, I'll wait until the my before person clear it off and go aside. For example, there is some issue with that person's document. So what I'll do, I'll not wait for him to complete. For example, if for each person I allocated 1 minute time. Okay. So once that 1 minute time is done, what I'll do, I'll kick him out, or else I'll not care about him, and I'll overthrow him and I'll go to my work. I'll complete my work, and based on the backside of me, it will done. So that is what asynchronous. So synchronous means I will wait until my function is getting executed. For example, at the third line I was executing, I got an error. I'll not skip that line and go to the fourth and fifth line. I'll stop there itself, and I'll not run the remaining code. Even if it is 10,000 lines, I'll stop at third line only, because there is error there. Until you fix the third line code, I'll not let you to go forward. So, but asynchronous is like, even though you have 100 errors, it will not bother. Third line error, okay, it will throw error and it will go to execution, it will done. Ninth line error, okay, it will throw error, it will go on execution, all the 1,000 lines it will execute, and then it will give you the total errors list. Okay, you have these many errors in the 1,000 line, you try to resolve these. Okay, so that's what happens with the asynchronous. Basically, by default, JavaScript is a synchronous, but we can make it asynchronous by using these type of methods like set interval, set timeout. So what these are doing, for example, I wanted to run this function as soon as it started, okay, but by using the set timeout, what I was doing, I was making 1 second delay. You know that within a fraction of a second, my whole code is executing. But if I make 1 second delay, that means I was making my code asynchronous, not it was not going in a synchronous way. If there is some error in this also, I'll get to know about it once my whole code is executed. After that only I'll get to know about it. Why? Because I given 1 second delay here, set timeout I given. Okay, the same way animation you see delay, how it will work. Even though my page is get loaded, after 1 second if I give delay, then only it will start execution. Here my whole code will get executed, but what happens? My this particular function will not get executed of the other function. It will get executed only after one second. Clear? So now what I'll do, I given this, and now I'll call this function. Okay, so as I written the function, we need to call that function, right? So I'll give like regular function and parenthesis because we are calling. So now if we see the output, so did I got immediately? Now if I reload, see, I got after 1 second. If I make it more like 3000, if I make that means 3 seconds delay. If I reload, see, after 3 seconds I was getting my output. I was just made my code asynchronous. Okay, so that is how my asynchronous will work. Now if you see this dot value, I was directly accessing. If you see now, I was declared here, right? But I was directly able to access this here. But if I make the same thing in an arrow function type, okay, let me take a function like arrow function. Okay, so it is just a name. Okay, don't get confused. That is just a name. So again, I'll declare like this dot value is equal to 33. Okay, just imagine like this. Okay, now I'll write the arrow function here. Set timeout. Okay, see, it automatically taken the arrow function here. Set timeout I given. So what I'll do, I don't need to pass any parameters of. See, I just need to console dot log of. I want to access this dot value. Okay, I want to access this one now. This dot value, and set timeout what I'll give. 1000 I was giving. So I will call regular function and then I'll call with the arrow function. Okay. So I was calling both the functions. What is the output should I get? What is the output should I get? Tell me. What I was getting? 33. 33. Why? That I was getting 2 times. Why? Basically, my arrow function will be out of context with the this keyword. That means in the regular function, when the set timeout is called, okay, that this keyword context is inside that functions refers to the global object. Okay, that means it consider this as the global value. So it can be accessed anywhere inside this regular function. For example, if I give like console.log of this dot value here also, what I'll get? I'll get my 42 value only. Why? Because when apart from arrow function in the general functions, this dot value always considered as the global scope. Okay, but when it come to the which one arrow function, what happens? It will not consider in that way. Okay, so what it will do first, automatically when I run this function, set timeout will not wait for my time 1 second. First it will execute this thing. Okay, so I'll get which value? I'll get 33, right? So then again after 1 second, again it will get executed, right? So what is the value I'll get again? 1. For example, how many times I was getting? Total all we are getting. Before also we got 2. I guess before we got 3, I guess, right? Sure. What the hell is doing? Did you see the difference between just changing the function lines, execution context? What is the change you are facing here? So when I was just first accessing a regular function and the narrow function, which value I was getting? 33. But when I execute first the arrow function, okay, then if I execute the regular function, then I was getting 42. If you see here, 42 I was getting. But if I just make it reverse, 33 I was getting. Why? Because as I mentioned, whenever you are dealing with this function, it will be taking the consistency, like what we say, context of within this function. But this arrow functions don't have that capability of, for example, even if you declare within that also, you don't have capability like accessing. For example, I was saying kept one person here. If I'm a regular person function, what I'll do, I will have the capability of, okay, if I say this dot ram, okay, he's the one, I'll pick him up. But arrow function will not have that capability. So what it will do, it will always behave on the inherit. So if you see in the CSS, inherit property will be there. Do you have idea what it will do? It was always depending on the previous outer element. For example, I have two paragraphs, 1, 2. First paragraph, if I give color as red. If I give the second paragraph color as inherit, what it will do? It will pick that color from the previous one, outer function, outer scope we call it as. Okay. So now if the set this dot value is usually a global variable, that means it can be accessed in anywhere out of it, right? But when I execute this arrow function will not have that capability. So that's why when I execute first regular function, it already changed this value to 33. Okay. So and then when I execute this, what happens? My arrow function value in the which phase? Compilation phase already assigned a value to this dot value, which is 33. So automatically what happens? My regular function also consider it as the 33 only. But when I first execute the arrow functions, sorry, when I which one we executed first? Regular, right? So when I execute the regular function first, same thing happens, vice versa. So when I execute regular function, so it will store that value. Okay, then it will be replacing by the in the compilation phase by the arrow function value. So actually it shouldn't take. Let me. There is some issue happening in this one. Give me a sec. Sorry. Okay, maybe browser became more talented now. Why? Because usually it will throw two values. Arrow function always throws two values. Why? Because one execution with the general execution it will execute, one with the set timer. No issues. If it is coming one, it will be good. Why? Because before you need in the previous before updates, we will be accessing with the dealing with this time interval again. Why? Because every time it will throw two timings. So that means two values. One with the set timeout or any asynchronous value. One will execute with the synchronous and one will execute with the asynchronous. Now I think it executing both same way. No issues. Okay. So that's why I said this value will be always not consistent. We can't predict the value exactly how will it will work out with any type here. Okay. So now let's get back to our next function type. Nothing but which one it is? Anonymous function. So what is meant by anonymous function? What is meant by anonymous function? Anonymous person, what it means? We don't know who he is, where he is, what is his gender. I don't know whether he's a human or alien, right? So in the same way, when it comes to the function, when the function which doesn't have any name, or in the other words, we call it as unnamed functions. Also, we can call it as, okay, those all will be called as a which thing? Anonymous functions. Yeah, anonymous function. So as I already mentioned, anonymous functions will be mostly used for the callback functions. What it means is, for example, let me take an example like, I'll first give example like normal thing, which already we did. I don't think again I need to give is constant as we already taken somewhere. Yeah. So let's consider this only. It is also one of the anonymous function only. Why? Because there is no name given to it, right? Okay, so we no need to write one more example and waste our time. Okay, see what we are doing here. We just writing accessing a function, but we are not giving any name to it. But we are assigning it to one of the identifier. There is a difference between giving name to the with the expression and the declaration. When we using the function declaration, we use the keyword like function. It is the name of that function, and like that we'll give. But when it goes to the anonymous functions, we'll just use only keyword function and we'll pass the parameters. We don't need to give name. Why? Because we are assigning it to any other identifiers directly. Okay, so these type of functions will be called as the which things? Anonymous function. So let me take one advanced example for this, like constant numbers we taken, right? Double S I'll take. Okay. Let me take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, array I take. So now what I'll do? So let's square it off. Okay, constant square squared is equal to, I'll take like numbers. Which one I need to use here? Numbers. I need to check the numbers, right? So first I'll go with the identifier name numbers. Then I need to map it to, when I was running a function, I need to map it to that function each and every keyword. So what I'll take? I'll use the keyword of map, and here I'll pass my function. So for example, for your sake, if I just make it one by one line, now if you see function, okay, I'll be passing parameters. So what is the parameter I'll be passing here? Number. So whichever the numbers I am taking, within that I'll take one number among these, and I'll do like, okay, where is, so return, I need to square this one. So how we can do that? Squaring in the sense square root, how you will get 1 power 1, 2 power 2, adi kuda teliyada. Okay, so return of into powers, right? So whatever the value I was extracting from my array into the same value. So in that case, what I need to do? Number into number, right? So the same value I need to multiply. So that's what will give me the square root. So my function is done. And then what I need to do? I need to call, let me console.log of square. So what will be the output I'll get? 149, 16, 25. If you see now, even if you see this function is even called before this line, but it was getting at the last. Even if you write 100 functions also, it will come at last only. Why? Because 1 second delay I was kept to it using the set timeout. So now if you see here, the same anonymous function, we just using the other methods, advanced example. Here we just used add, and here we did multiply. So anonymous is nothing but just not giving a name. If you see till now whatever we discussed, all are rotating in the same box only. Okay, each one is very similar to another, but only difference is the way how we are dealing with each function. For example, if we go with the normal function, we declare the name and we'll give a name to that parameters we'll pass, and then we will do. But if you go with array, if you see in a single line, we return. If you go with anonymous, we're not even giving a name of that function. We just assigning it to any identifier. So that like that, this is the some of the similar like differences how we can access my function. So at end each and everything, if you write any function, for example, if you go with regular function, or if you go with arrow function, or if you go with anonymous function, are you going to get a different output? Output will be same, but the way of execution will be definitely changes, right? For example, if I wanna go from 100 meters from here to outside of this room, do I need to carry a bike? No. In the same way, if I want to go from here to 10 kilometers, can I walk from here? I need to use the bike. I can walk, I'll get the output, but which one will be more effective? That's what I have to look into. So in the same way, functions also work in the same ways. Clear? So always here, if as I was mentioning, anonymous functions will be dependent on callbacks. So what is meant by these callbacks basically? What is meant by callbacks? So for example, we say auto turn off functionalities, auto turn off. For example, any Bluetooth you are using, if you don't use it for much time, okay, not playing any songs and you kept it aside, it will auto turn off automatically. Or if any device is not connected, it will turn off. Why? Because it was just waiting for that particular time, and after that particular time only it is getting off. So that doesn't mean that it is not working until that time, right? It was working, but it was just holding its switch off functionality until a particular time. So once the time it was reached, it was executing at that time. The same way, callbacks is nothing but the values I'll declare, the function I'll declare, everything will be executed. But the output or the execution, for example, I have 10 functions. Okay. I have a dependency functions. Like if I want to, my function, I want to run one function, like for example, constant I declared in one function and I want to access that in other function. So until unless I run the first function, I don't have the capability of running the second function, right? It is a dependent, right? So these type of functions called as callbacks. That means all are already executed, but it always depends on the other function or other identifiers. Okay. For example, so let me take callbacks, right? So let me take an example like function. Okay. Greet, I'll say like name, comma, callback. I was passing two parameters here. Okay. I was passing two parameters here. The first parameter I'll give like console.log of I'm using the backtick method. Okay. Hello. Comma name. So tell me how I can write the same thing in a general way. I was using a backtick method. So the same thing how I can write. Can anybody tell me? Nothing. Hello is a syntax there, string. So I'll put it in a string, right? Then I need to access this value. So what I'll do? Plus I'll give that param name, right? Both are same only. But instead of writing this and all, I was just simply using backtick method and I was using the dollar symbol to execute this. Both will give me the same output, no difference. Okay, don't get confused here. Okay, I'll keep it like that only for your understanding. So now I'll do like callback. Okay. So I was calling this callback function here. Now where is it? Now what I'll do? Callback, right? I was returning it here. Now I'll write one more function. Okay. Function say goodbye is my function name. Okay. Now what I'll do? Console.log of I'll give like goodbye. I given like this one message. Okay. So now I'll create Now I'll try to pass like greet is my function here. So how many parameters I can pass here? What is the parameters? One is name and one is the callback. So what I'll do, name I was trying to access here, right? But I don't have any name. So I'll pass here like the first parameter I'll pass like name, right? So I'll give like Manoj, my name only I given. So what is the second parameter? Callback. So I can use this function name here. For example, say goodbye, and if I call this function directly here, I don't need to call. I can just give the say goodbye. So now tell me what will be the output I'll get. So tell me what will be the output I may get. Say what is the output? See, first one name. Okay. Hello, Manoj, and here I was getting goodbye separately, but it shouldn't be get that way. We made some mistake somewhere. Let me remove this. We don't want it. Somewhere we did mistake. Something we missed. Function name is properly I have. Say goodbye is also properly I have. Callback already. What the fuck? Name is equal to Manoj. Callback is equal to, see, it was already taking say goodbye function, it was taking, right? Hmm. Where? You didn't get it. What we need to use? Where? Did you check or is it a hunch? Like you thought that it will be flower bracket, it may be, or you already, you know, right? Thank you. See, small mistake. I was just debugging the whole code, line by line, why it was not working. See, now if you see, when I was debugging itself, you have seen, as soon as my line of code execution come to the second line itself, my callback, hosting is working here also. What it was taking? In the place of name, it was considering it as the this one name it was taking. In the place of callback, it was taking this whole function. Got it? So that's how my callbacks usually work. If you see, if I want to run this function, when I can run? When this function is run, then only it will be work. Until unless it will be like a useless lines of code to me, right? So if I don't use this function, if I don't call this function anywhere, so is there any purpose of using this call by this one particular say goodbye? No, right? It will never give me output, right? If I don't call it, it will not give me output. So it is always dependent on this other function. So that's how my callbacks will usually work. Nothing but how it will work. It will be always depending on other functions. So until unless this function is get executed, do you think it will work out? It will execute? No, until unless once this function is executed, then only it will come to this function. Okay, so these type of functions are called as which type of functions? Callback functions. Clear? Simple mistakes kills times. You believe that a single dot killed almost 16 days time of whole team, my whole team. We just missed a single dot. We are using all advanced searches, all advanced issues we are checking. But we are not even considering, okay, there may be a minor issues. That dot, we checked. My whole team is strength of 40 at that time. My whole team checked. My manager came. Team lead came first. He checked. Manager came. He checked. Tech lead came. He also checked. Nobody is worked it out. And do you know how it was fixed at last? After 1 week, almost 12 days, I guess. It was not fixed. The code need to go to the production. So before going to the production code, we'll just refactor it, like minifying and all, we'll check once. There we thought like why we need to dot will be necessary. Like we'll simply we are putting dots like wherever it's missing spaces. Like minifying code, there will be some other test case will write. Now in the test cases, I was putting dot generally. And we are trying to push usually. Okay, we thought like, okay, we'll just push it to the production, we'll check issue later. But the code is working fine in the production. Then we checked almost 21 people has the Git process, updated Git code. So now again we started, we coming like what we say, coming from backwards. So who updated last? Okay, every deployment we are started checking. In the middle, there is one guy who just put one dot, that's it. He didn't put anything. He kept the dot also without knowing. The dot fixed that whole issue which was pending for 12 days and no one was able to fix it. So like that, always don't even think about bigger issues. See, now I also went to direct debugging and I was getting confused why value is not coming. But what we missed? Simple paragraph, syntax. That's why case friendly. What we say? Case sensitive. Anything you write, even any symbols, everything will be case sensitive in the JavaScript. So that's why you need to be careful with the callbacks. Clear? Sorry, case sensitive, any keyword. So is it clear how these callbacks will work? Now, anybody have any doubts? అర్థమైనాయమ్మా ఇప్పుడు దాకా కంటిన్యూ చేద్దామా ఆపేద్దామా షూర్ నిద్ర రావట్లేదు కదా ఎవరికి ఎనీబడి గెటింగ్ స్లీప్ నిద్ర వస్తుంది నిద్ర ఎట్లా వస్తుంది గలీజ్ నాల క్లాస్లో ఉంటే ఓకే సో నెక్స్ట్ విల్ గో విత్ నెక్స్ట్ ఫంక్షన్ వాట్ ఈస్ ఇట్ IIFE, nothing but immediately invoked function expressions. So what is this immediate invoked functions? So generally, for example, my functions may be depend on the other function. Like if you take a callback only, it is depending on the variables from ident from other function. So what is this immediate invoke functions will do is we will use it these type of functions where there is high severity of manipulation. Okay, and we thought that we no need to any issues to be happened there, or the data is not supposed to be changed. For example, just imagine when you are accessing calling an API call, like take a login credentials only. Okay, so I was just whichever the input fields you are giving, username, one input I was assigning, right? One variable and password. So for example, I did a mistake like the same value assigned to other function also, variable, okay, global variable assigned. So whatever the password you are giving, maybe that was getting replaced with the other value there. So what happens? Are you able to log in? Because you are giving properly only, but every time what happens? The value is getting changed by the other value somewhere execution. So to avoid these type of things, that's where my immediate invoked functions came into the picture. So how this immediate invoked functions will work is the same line where it started, it start executing there, and it will not, once that lines of function is ended, it will not go out. It will execute the whole line within that only space. So that means there is a particular space allocated for that function, and no other variables will be able to come inside or able to go outside. So that means it's a block, completely it's blocked, and my whole function will be more secure. No global values can be able to touch it and make changes to this particular function. For example, if you take example like immediate node function expressions, IIF. Okay, so let me take a function. So the syntax will be simple. Okay, so what will be the syntax? My function, that's it. This is the basic syntax of my function. What additional I was adding? It's a normal function. But whatever the empty parentheses that you are seeing here, these two, this will convert my normal function into this immediate invoke function. Clear? So now whatever the function I write within this, these variables are whichever identifiers I declare this, these variables are and functions can't be accessed outside of this function or outside one can't be accessed inside. So now if you see just example now let's say constant message hello, I'm from IFP. Just imagine I have a message like this. Now I'll write a one more function, like just a private function I'll write here. Okay. I write a private function like okay, function greeting. Okay. So I give like this. Or else I'll use greet only. This is my function here, function greet. So now, for example, if I try to access, which message I need to access? Which is declared here. Okay. Console.log of message. Okay. And I was calling this function. What is the function name? Greet. Okay. So now tell me what will be my output. Where is my cursor? What will be my output? I'll not get my output. Tell me what will be output. Am I getting any output here? Why? As I always mention, function if is declared, it need to be written somewhere. It need to be called somewhere. But anywhere am I calling this invoked function? It's just my function, but I need to call it somewhere. Am I getting it not or not? But if you see here, there is a function with the name greet already we have. Where it is? Here. But is it affecting this function now? No. Why? Because this immediate invoke function is nothing but it will always work or execute within the block of code. So it will not allow any outer parameters or inner parameters outside. So that means, so now if you see the output here, so am I getting hello Manoj, which is assigned to the function name greet. The same function I am assigned to hello, I am from IIFE. Both have the same function name. But is any whether inside function or outside function is getting affected anyways? No. Why? Because it is like a barricade. These parentheses will be like a barricade, which will not allow any global scopes to the inside or any scopes to the outside, like hosting or anything. can't be handled in this invoked functions. Posting can be done inside the functions, not outside the function. That means I can access the values inside of this whole function, but not I can access the outside things. Okay, outside functions can't affect my invoked functions. Clear? Is it clear? Anybody have any doubts? I need water. Let me give that also. So, for your sake, I'll write message, message, right? So let me take the global. Okay, one global variable I'll take. I'll take not even. I'll take it. Like sorry, variable. I take variable. Message is equal to Manoj Kumar. Okay. So I'll take 3. Let also I'll take Manoj Kumar. Let Manoj Kumar var. Okay. So now I need to access message only right here. Which it was throwing error 93. Okay, sorry. I'll just comment it off. I did a mistake. Now what is output I was getting? Still I was getting inner output only. So now let's go with let. Let me comment. Let is not a function. Was telling. So at least when it is a global scope, it is even giving a chance to replace. But let is a block level scope. It is not even giving a chance to enter inside itself. At least global scope is trying to enter inside, but as soon as it enters here, it will remove it off. Because invoked function's main purpose is like it should not allow any global scopes to the inside. So that's why I was getting output, but it's a block level. So this invoked function is not even considering it to come inside of it. Okay, clear? Any doubt? Yeah. So where is my cursor? So that's how my immediate invoked functions will work. That means, okay, so now let's go with the next function type, generator functions. Okay. So it's not diesel or petrol generators. Okay, it's a type of functions that we use, and it's have a very special ability in JavaScript usually. So functions. So generate function is a unique feature in JavaScript. Simply we can say why, because so by using any methods that you have learned so far, are you able to, for example, a loop is running off, are you able to pass that execution and you can run it whenever you need it? Do you have that functional anywhere? But this generated functionality is nothing but will give you a privilege of passing your functionality execution. Okay, the function will be same syntax, but it will just give me the privilege of passing my functionalities whenever I need it and execution whenever I again need it. Okay, that's what the unique feature that is giving by this function generator type of function. That's why it is a very unique type. You can pass it and you can resume it whenever you need it. So generally these type of functions will be indicated by star. Okay, like function name, function and star. Okay, so it will mentions that with the, it will automatically consider browser. It is a generator type of function. So if you go with the example how this basically work, so let me give function keyword and it automatically I need to give star keyword. Okay, which will mention it as a generator function. It will consider. So I'll give like simple generator. I'll take one function name. Just consider. Okay. So now there is another keyword is coming here is called as yield. Okay. So yield is the keyword that is what handles the whole passing. For example, return 1 if I give value, and if I write like console.log of simple generator function, if I call, what is output I'll get? I'll just given like return 1, return 2, return 3. I given like this 3 lines. Okay. What is the output I'll get? What is output I'll get? What I'll get, sir? If I just give return 1, return 2, return 3 within a function, okay? For example, within the same function I given like return 1, okay? So I given like this, like 2, 3 and 4, okay? And if I'm trying to console.log of this function, what is the output I'll get? Leave about the generic function. Generally, I was asking. Why I'll not get 2, 3, 4? Exactly. So that's why I was asking again and again. What is the output you will get? What is the output you will get? You will get only first value. Why? Because what is the purpose of return? Return is like a breakpoint to any execution. For example, I was running a function, and whenever I give a keyword called return, it means that I was breaking that function there. I will not allow to execute after that line. For example, even I have 100 lines of code after that return, it will not consider. It will be like a useless code only. Why? Because my return has such a power that it will break it off there itself. My whole execution will be stopped immediately. Never forget how powerful return is. Clear? So that's why always why we are using without calling my function name. I can call directly by return and I can use it. Why? Because it will automatically consider it as the ending. So that's why I can call my function just after that return means what it means. Already my code is getting ended. I can call my function then. So because return always breaks the execution. So how many lines of code are there after my return? It doesn't matter. I'll get output of return only. What is the output that I was getting until that line? I'll get that only. After that code will be useless. The same thing here also. When I run this function, I'll get only return 1. That means only one value I'll get. I'll not get any 2, 3, 4. I'll not get. Clear? So now instead of return, yeah. What the fuck? I'll use the keyword called as yield. YIELD. Yeah. Now if you see, I given a keyword called as yield here. So it is same as return only. Okay, like if you just give string value 1, 2, 3, 4, how it is. I mean the say I was giving a 1, 2, 3, 4 value, but the word is changed to yield here. Now if I try to access it like console dot generator. Generator is only right function name what? Yeah. Okay, I can take anything because I didn't assign my function to any variable here. So I'll assign console.generate is equal to what is that the function I can give? Sorry, constant. Constant generator I can give like my function name automatically. Simple generator. Now my function will be able to whenever I access this, I'll call this function. Right. Now, for example, if I give like console.log of what I can call it here? Generator, right? Like instead of that, okay, generator. So generator, if I get, what will be the output I should get? Let's see if we are getting any output. So did I got any output? It got suspended there, but I was not getting any output here. If you see generator location, and if I see what is the state, it got suspended. Why? Because there is another keyword it always depend on. So that means generally what is this yield word mentions means nothing but pass. I was mentioning whenever I call this function, I was telling pass at 1, pass at 2, pass at 3, pass at 4. I was just stopping it there. not stopping, just passing it. Stop. There is a difference between stop and pass, right? I can execute again if I was passing. I can resume it, but stop means I was closing it. I was just passing here. Okay, so that's what I was telling. So now, once it is passed at this line, I need to get, even it will not go to the value also. It will stop at the yield word only. But I need to get that word. So for that only, I'll use a keyword here called as dot next. It is a default JavaScript word next. Okay. So now it will, if you access this value, next dot value. So now, see what is the values I was getting? 3, 4, 1, 2, I was getting like this, right? So if I save it and if I go to the browser and if I reload, what is the value I got? Why I was not getting 2, 3, 4, 5? I was resumed, right? Here I was started by using next, but I was not getting the next line is not getting executed. Why? Because if you see here, I was passed here. Again, I resumed it by using the next keyword. But again, it will, when it comes here, it will pass or not, right? So I was not mentioning again, it will not take the same line for execution. So that's why if you want to access the output, the how many times you want to access, that many times you need to access with the next keyword. So now what is the output here? 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that is the advanced what we say, advantage of using the this type of function. Very rarely we'll use this. Not even one time till now I use this function in a practical life. Even though I have worked in many projects, e-commerce I worked, even the dashboard projects I worked, DB projects, nowhere we'll use this majorly because we'll not need of this. Basically, it will help you to handle the complex control flows or like converting an asynchronous operations or implementing like custom iterations. Whenever you want to write a custom iteration you want to create, in such cases only you will go with this one. Clear? So, but here in general life, we will not use this more. But this is one of the advantages and unique feature that we have in JavaScript, passing the flow and execution whenever we need it. For example, let us access the same thing with a loop. Okay, let's see how it will work out with a loop. If you see, for example, now how many I given here? 1, 2, 3, 4 I given. What if I give 5? What will happen? Can anybody guess what will the output I'll get? What is the error I'll get? So if I don't have any value, what is definitely what I'll get? Undefined only, right? If I have value, I'll get the value. If I don't have value, it will be considered as undefined. That's why see, fifth time I was getting undefined. Clear? So now, for example, let us apply the same thing with a loop here. So what I'll do, function, I'll give like count to n. Okay, I want to count n numbers. Whichever the value I give to the n, that many times I want to run my loop. So what I'll give, I'll pass a parameter called n. Okay, this is my function. Okay, which type of function it is? What is the function type of this? What? You had breakfast. It's 11 o'clock. I taken class. Speak loud. I didn't had anything. I'm only speaking loud. Generator function type. Okay. So now what happening? I was just creating one function name and I was passing a parameter called n here. Clear? So now let me write for loop like for let I is equal to 1. What is mean by 1 here? Initializer, right? Next, what do I need to give? Condition. So I don't have a value here. So I need to go with the dynamic value. I is less than or equal to which value I need to check? M. Clear? Then I plus plus. I just given an increment. So then I'll give like, here I can't give yield 1, 2, 3 like this. So which value I need to bind it to it? What is the value I need to bind here? No, this Japandra. Why? Why I need I? Why I will get here, madam? N or I? Why I? N or I? How many are telling I or how many are telling N? I, how many? Raise your hands. I, raise your hands. Clearly. N, you'll not get both. Anything. So if I give, okay, let me give, as you say, I'll give N here. Okay. So if I give N, and if I write like my function is done, right? So let me take constant, I'll take count, I'll give. Okay. Counter is equal to, I can pass my function or not directly. Count to N of, I need to pass my N value here, right? So what is the value? Let us give 7. I'll give 7. Parameter. This parameter value, okay, where it is, this N value I was passing here. We already know how it will work out. So now tell me, if I give like console.log of counter only, right? Counter dot next of, okay, dot value. So what is the output I'll get? Sure. 1 to 7 will get, sure. Why we got 7 here? You declared N here, okay. But there is no function, what we say, always my value will be 1 only. There is no iteration is happening. So if I want iteration, which I need to access? I only. N will not work out here. Okay. So now if I give like this, now tell me what will be the output. 1 to 7. 1 or 1 to 7? Why I will get 1? I was passing properly only, right? Why I'll get 1 there? Okay. In that case, let me keep it N only. And I'll pass how many times? 2 times I'll pass it. Now tell me what I'll get. 7 only 3 times. But if I pass here I, what I'll get? See, my loop got run, but I was getting value of 1 only. Same way, how many the yield? See, loop is not gonna do anything. Instead of every time we are writing, it was just running for us at a time. But if I want to execute it, if I want to start it the pass, what happens? I need to run every time. So here I written how many times? Yield 4 times manually. But here I was just accessing a loop to run how many times I want to pass. So how many times I want to execute? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now if you see 7 and undefined. Clear? So that's how my these functions will work out. Okay. Clear? Is it clear how generator functions will work? Any doubt? So generally we'll use these type of functions also when you're dealing with APIs also it will help. Okay. APIs, like for example, in APIs you'll have array of objects, like multiple array of objects will be there inside. Okay, or else you are getting a data, more data. So you want to pass, like I was getting 1000 records, I want to break my JSON with only 500 records or 100. In such case, we can use this. I can run my loop with only 100 data and I can execute the data, and how many data I need, then I can execute. Even these lines can be, I can make it some loop and I can print it right. Here I was writing, we don't want to go in depth, so we are writing console. I can make this loop and I can write a single and I can execute how many I need, right? In a loop, if I make it 5, I'll get 5 times, I'll get resume. If I give 10, 10 times. But if I make it dynamic with the value of n, how many times n is there, that many times I'll get my value, right? So here the concept is just to know how the pass is working, how the resume is working, and how this function, generate function is working. Clear? Does anybody have any doubts? Sure. Okay. So let's go with the next function type. Constructor function. So one of the important function type that will definitely, you will definitely use when you go into the practical world. Okay. So What is this constructor function? So it's a way to create a object of a specific type or class. Okay. So whenever you want to access any object value or create a new value, new object, by using the already existing object or object, you'll create a new object based on the which type or class you have chosen it from. Okay. So these are typically used to define and initialize the objects with properties and methods, like what we say, as we just now discussed, array of objects in a JSON. So these all can be with a defined utilization in these for using like for execution of these JSONs and all, we'll use these constructor objects only. Most of the functionalities that you create will be depending on this constructor methods only. Okay. So instead of going, let me go before syntax. If you see, let me go with syntax. So same as function, it is common. So next, class name. Then what we'll have? Properties, right? Property or one, property, two, parameters also you can call, no issue. This dot property. Then I can pass one more nested functions here, right? Nested function I can give like whatever the method I want to give. Okay. So method implementation. So this is the basic syntax of a constructor. Okay, constructor function. So if you take the same thing, okay, let's take a one practical example for this constructor to calculate the age. Okay, so before jumping into the code, just tell me what is the things that we need to calculate the age of a person. First, we need year of birth and name. Okay, name we'll take because if we calculate multiple people, we need name. So then what is the things we needed? Exactly, the current year and the current date. Simply to say the current date we needed. So these are enough for us to calculate or not? So let us do the same thing. So now let us write a function to calculate by using this constructor. Okay. So now let me take function of person. So what are the parameters? Like let's take first name is one thing we'll take. First name, comma, last name, comma, age. I'll take 3 parameters here. Clear? Caps are coming camel case. Okay. Always try to maintain the camel cases only. Don't try to give caps at the starting. Age. So now this is my function started. Parameters, not arguments. Don't forget. I just pass the parameters, not arguments. So now let me assign some names to it. Okay. So this dot first name is equal to what we need to assign. First name dynamic. I want to create a make it dynamic completely. So I'll go with last name is equal to last name. Next, this one will be age is equal to this dot age is equal to age. Okay. So now what I'll do? Now I'll run my function here. So this dot get full name. First, I'll give a function to get my full name. Okay. So function. Okay. It is also just one more name. Get function I was created. Okay. I was just assigning anonymous function to my this dot get full name. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll just use the return keyword, okay, and I'll use the advanced method. Instead of giving string method, I'll use this concat method. Like, simply I can write like, what is the thing I need to write? This dot. Okay, I was making the same mistake. I was habituated with those things, so that's why I always going in this way. Okay, this dot first name, right? And then next what I need to get, this dot last name. So it will give me the output of full name. It will add both. Automatically, I don't need any plus or things because I was not using any concatenations here. So I don't need anything. So now what I'll do, now I'll create the instance for my construction function. Okay. Till here it is nothing is new, same as all other functions. Now here I'll create the instance for my construction function. So how I'll write? So let constant person 1 is equal to, I'll write like new person, sorry, new person of, how many parameters we have there totally? 3 parameters like Manoj, comma, Kumar, comma, 25. Yeah. So I given like this. So now if you see, I'll take 3 persons. Person 2, okay. Person 3. Give some name. Yeah. Shastri. Ravi Shastri. Okay. 45. Cool. So now if you see, there is a new thing that we have seen here. Every constant, whatever the identifier I created, I was using a keyword called as new here. Okay. So that is what my constructor helped me out here, actually creates the instance. What is this new is doing here? So I may have 10 values. Okay. So every time it will be considered with as a new arguments to my particular function. Clear? So for example, now what I'll do, so let me give like console.log of person 1. Okay. Person 1 dot. I need a full name, right? So then I definitely pass the function full name. Okay. Then what I can give? So I got the person 1 full name. So the same thing if I do with others, 2 and 3, what I'll be going to get? I got all the 3 names or not? Manoj Kumar, Krishna Kumar, and Ravi Shastri. Okay. So till I was just going with the basic syntax. Okay. Don't think that why I was teaching like ABC here. We are just going with step by step. So now we just create the first name. We can do it in a simple 3 lines also. We can make it. Okay. Now what we need to do? We need to get both age and the full name we need to calculate. So I'll write a condition like I want to print the people only whose age with a particular age. I don't want to print all the everyone's age. I want to print with particular people's age. So for example, in this new here person, I was passing the static single user data. Just imagine if I pass a whole object data like dynamic data, array of object data, what happens then? So every time each user data it will consider as one new object. Okay, that's what my new keyword construct it was helping me out. It will create me instance for every array of object. For example, here instead of if in the same way if I get array of object big one, so that means each student have 3 details: name, full name, last name, and age. So I can every time what happens for my person 1, I every time whenever I run a loop, it will create a new instance every time. So first person 1 instance, second person 1 instance, third person. That's what my new keyword is doing here. It will help me to create the instance there. Okay. So that's why I written this many lines. So the new keyword just in the constructor way, what it was helping, the constructor way helping us to create the new instance for each and every object or array, whatever you take, generally objects we use. Okay. Within a, whenever you pass any params to it. Okay. So now if you see, let's calculate the age. One, make full name. Okay. Now what we can do? So now let me take new function like function person. I'll take the same function name and I'll pass the params like we don't need to take because already we have params age and all. Okay. So age or else we can take we can take something instead of age. It's better we'll take like yeah, let us take age only. So let me take one more time. First name, comma, last name, comma, birth year I'll take. Instead of age, we'll take birth year. We need to get that now, right? Birth year. So now if you see, it was throwing error, right? Because already I have a function there. Okay. So I'll pass the same parameter here also. No issues. Oh, sorry. Away. Okay, birth year I was passed. Now what I'll do, let's make same, already we have here. So let me modify this thing, okay? Instead of creating one more, let us modify this here. So this dot age, right? What I'll take, this dot, give me a minute, it's irritating. Yeah, yeah, what happened? So this dot age is equal to age, right? So now let's calculate the age based on the year. Calculate based on birth year. So I guess it will be good to take. Okay, let me do this. So what we will do, this dot calculate age is the function that I'll be taking. Okay. So this dot calculate age is equal to, I'll write a function like so now tell me what is the way that we can execute this, get this current age. We already have the present date and also we have the year of birth. So by using this, how you can get the age or else what is the current age? Any guess? Current year minus what is the output it will give? Why yours? I was asking you people, you should answer, right? Every time I need to point you. Okay, tell what is the answer. మరి ఎట్లున్నారు ఏంట్రా సైకో లాగా. Where is my function? Okay, so let me take constant. Do you remember these methods? Pardon? What I did mistake. A new correct one, sorry. Date will be separate. It's a new complete new date, right? Dot get full year. I need the full year. That means only I want to get the year. So now what will the output I'll get for that? 2023 is the output I'll get. Okay. So now then what I'll do? Return current year. Okay. So return current year. What is the value that we need to return here? Tell me what is the value we need to return for current year? Minus birth year. That's what we need to write, right? This dot birth year. But I guess we don't have any, or else we can take. That's why I said we should change the name. Okay. This dot birth year. Now it will be cool. So this dot birth year we will be accessing from our data. Okay. So it will return. So now we'll create instance for these persons, like person one is equal to what we will give. Instead of age, we'll pass the years like 1998, 1989, and 1950. Sorry, I don't want to make it that much. 81. Okay. So now tell me what is the output that we will get. Tell me. Just check carefully before giving answer. Hmm? Hmm? Check the output for line number 153, 154, and 155. Only? Why I'll not get age? I was not accessing anywhere. Why I'll get? That's what I was asking you people. So I'll use the backtick method. Person one dot get full name. So then I'll give like some syntax. And again, which one and we know what we need to do. Person one dot which method I need to pass? Calculate age method only I need to pass, right? So then what I need to pass? Nothing is need to pass. Just as normal syntax I was passing. Here so it's just considered as a string only. Clear? So now if you see the some error we got. Sorry, I was passing function. You don't need to pass functions when you're using. Still I was getting same. Right, console.log. Person one dot get full name only, right? Oh, what is the issue? Which one I was passing again? So what I was getting? So I was getting both full name and age here. So Manoj Kumar is 25 years old. So if I make it to the other things, so if I make it for other users like 2, 3 and 2, 3. So what is the outputs I'll get? I'll get a different. Okay. All are getting 25. And forgot to make changes here. So, am I getting the exact age or not? Calculation. Okay. So this seems to be Very simple while you are seeing here. So it's just a minus plus. But if you go with the practical, so how it will be is like, for example, if I'll just give a scenario like, so they want you to extract the data from the API. You are getting a JSON data, you want to extract it, and you want to filter the data whose strength, whose age is like a less than like what we say 30 years or 50 years. In that case, what you will do? There we don't have a static data. It is always dependent on the dynamic data. So then first you need to collect the data from the JSON. Then again what you need to do, there will be array of object because each user have multiple data like name and all. You need to pick only age in that. So then what you need to do, you need to map that filter you need to use. There are hundreds of methods you have in JavaScript. So first you need to check each and every data, and in that you need to pick only the which key you need to pick. You need to use for each some method, you need to use array methods, and you need to methods you need to use, and you need to pick that key, age key. Then you need to calculate that, run that age key with the loop. For example, 10,000 people are coming, data 10,000 times you need to run that loop, no other way. Then you need to pick that object completely outside, whichever the user have that particular age. For example, I was checking for whose age is less than 25. So I need to pick whole object, that whatever the data details you have, by using that one key, I need to extract all of them outside. So I got a new array of object or not. So I need to store this whole array of object in the new variable again. So then what I need to do, for example, they wanted me to print that and they wanted to check for like this. Age again, they want to do some any data they want to print. Again, what I need to do? Again, I need to pass my functions through that new data. For example, I was taken one data. Tomorrow I was getting by evening, there is a new 4 people data added in the database. So what I need to do? Again, I need to fetch that also. So that means I can't use the functions, just static functions. Every time the functions will be always dynamic. That means as soon as my page get refreshed, all my functions need to be run simultaneously. And every time whenever I run a new data is updated, I need to render my page. So this is an issue also. Why? Because see, for example, I updated 10 times a day. 10 times until you reload, you will not get the new data. The network call will not happen, API call. So to avoid this, there are few methods, sync methods, async methods we got in jQuery and in the JSON methods, which will help us to automatically call a network call. It will do, that means the get methods whenever a new change is seen in the database. For example, backend they'll write a logic like whenever the database is updated, send a intimation to the front end. So the front end, what it will do, it will be, instead of depending on the reload, it will be depending on the particular response. Okay, so that response will be always on. So what happens? 24%, whenever a new hint is come, so automatically it will refresh my render my whole code. That means I was getting a new data without even the user is reloading my page. So I was not making the user to be reloaded. I was doing it by myself. Okay. So these type of things only, they, in that cases, here it will be seen very simple, but we'll apply the same logic. For what we'll do? For separating, we'll use the sorting. For segregating into a new way, we'll use this constructor method to create a new object for each and every user. Right. So there it will be, if you see, it will look very hard. But if you break that code line by line, then only you'll understand it is just like a ABCD example only. But what is the difference? The keyword which they are using, that is changed, but method will be same. So whatever the methods you have seen so far, each and every method is same. Okay, no difference that you're not gonna do any rocket science when you go with the practical work. The only way is you need to just imagine. For example, if you have this function in mind, by seeing the code you will understand, okay, this function is written in this way. It was written in a invoke function, immediate invoke. It was written in arrow function. So my function is starting here, my arguments are passing here, and my parameters where it was passing. That's what you need to check. Always break the code. Don't directly jump into code and search for the errors. Break the code and rule. You can break and rule always help you to clear anything. That's why I said while designing also, right? Don't directly go blindly. Break the code. How many features, how many sections it need to come. Then start working on it. Clear? So these are the methods, some of the methods that we have seen so far. So last one will be built-in methods. So built-in JavaScript, okay. So these are also called as the native function methods, we call it as, like string methods and array methods we have seen. We have seen like what are the string methods? We have seen. Array methods? Did you have string methods? In string methods, are splice and slice is there. What, sir? Give me some names of string methods. Dot, length to uppercase to lowercase, everything is string method only. I was asking. What about array methods? Rotate the page. Push, pop, slice, splice. These all are array methods. Okay. So these can be even given to the objects also. For example, I don't wanna give. Let's use the same data. Okay. Let's use this data where we have users data. This one, right? Instead of this, let me create an array of object. These are called default methods or native object. So let me give an array like constant students. Okay. So let me give like name, give names quickly. One name, Ravi. Age. చెప్పరా నువ్వేనా అమ్మాయా ఏజ్ చెప్పరా 26 అమ్మాయి లైక్ ఫీల్ అవుతున్నా నరేంద్ర లైక్ స్కిల్ అది కరెక్టే ఫుల్ స్టాక్ లెట్ మీ గివ్ ఫుల్ స్టాక్ ఓకే sorry I was given colon should be comma so now comma here okay just consider it is one user data so let us make it 5 users Sridhar Sudha then Rangavali Rangavali Bhuvi Shahrukh 26 46 96 36 12 16 6 full stack man stack backend UI. Yeah. 1997 56 25 don't check again tell me that the age is different okay I was just giving blindly I'll kill you if someone says yeah 6 85 2001 2020 so we can consider any factor here based on age we can filter or skill anything okay but it's just an array of object data we have clear so now what we will do now my data is ready okay so now I want to filters whose age is like who people let's go with age or year let's go with year who are born after 2000 okay we will take who are born after 2000 we'll filter that data so what we will do first will be filter people after 2000 right so for that what we will do we'll use the default methods only here. So I'll take like constant latest generation. Okay, useless generation. Okay, I'll take like in which one I need to filter? Students, right? In students, I need to filter dot filter, and I'll use the arrow function here. So I need to filter which thing? Year. So I'll do like student singularity. Okay, each student dot, okay, arrow function, and student dot, what I need to take? Year. Clear? Student of year I'll be taking. So what I need to give? Who is greater than 2000? Clear? Who is greater than 2000? I need to pick, or equal. Greater than or equal to also we can consider, but let's go with greater than only for now. Okay, so now whatever, if I consolidate, what I'll have here? I'll have that students list whose age is, sorry, whose year is greater than 2000. So now let's check it first. Generation. Hey, yeah. See, I got the users or not? See, 2002, 2006, and 2020, who all are greater than 2000. Clear? So if you see here, which method we have used here? Did you use any new method? Arrow method. And for filtering, what we did? It's just a default method. As I said, default function methods. Filter. It's a default JavaScript native methods. These are all called as. So directly we got the data or not? Just a single keyword filter is helping me to filter in. I may have 10,000 data, but still I'll get my data or not. So let's make it. What we can do? Already we are getting data. What else we can filter in this? What else we can filter? Cheppandra. Map. Let's map the same filter చేస్తాం. Okay. Okay. So let me do one thing. Const skill. I'll take like a student skill. Okay. I'll take student skill. I'll is equal to what we can do. Students dot map of student dot skill. Okay, what you will give? Skill. Okay, let me give skill only. I'll tell you why. Okay, now until here everything is perfect, right? No mistakes I get. Okay, so now what I'll do? What is the output I'll get? Tell me. Not all. I'll get only skills. I was accessing particular keyword. See, in the first instance, I was giving a condition there. Condition I was passing and I was filtering the data. Map, what I was doing. That is the difference. Try to check the difference between map and filter. Okay. So map, what I was doing, I was mapping my whole student skill into one object or array it is. Array na object array. Clear, map is array methods only, right? So I was just mapping it into here. So now if you see, am I getting skills of everyone or not? So here I was using only 5 students. The same way, maybe you want to calculate like senior developers in while JSON, you want to calculate the salary. So you want to filter the students whose like salary is more than 10 lakhs LP, like that. See, whichever you take, it's all general life examples only. Okay. Just each and every method, don't go blindly like a plus b is equal to 3, a plus b. go with the practical examples, try to implement each and every simple method with the general life examples, then definitely you'll remember. If you just go with a plus b, always you'll use the same methods, you'll forget the methods how it will work. But if you go with the practical general life examples, then you will remember very clearly. Okay, so for example, I want to calculate the real age. For example, it's a dummy age we give. So let us calculate real age. So that we already did. We know what we will do. Constant current year. You know, right? Current. Or else I'll go with present age. Present year. I don't want to use the same attribute. So what we need to give? We already know. New dot date of. Then get full year. Clear? So now then what we will do? Constant. Original age. Okay, original age only, right? So students dot reduce. There is a method. It is also reduce is also one of the method. Okay. So reduce what I was doing. What I need to pass here. I'll pass two parameters. Total, comma, age. Age we have anywhere. Okay, I'll pass two parameters here. So this what I'll do, I'll add the arrow function. Okay. So total plus current year or present year, right? Present year minus which one I need to get? With whom with I need to minus? Yeah. Which year? Student dot year. See, don't get confused. When I was accessing students, okay, before arrow function or any function, so I want to, when I was running function, that means I was checking particular one person or one value there. So then I will get only singular value, not plural value. Never you'll get plural value when you're executing like this. So blindly remember it. Student dot year, right? So then what I need to give? I need to give from which thing? Initialization I need to give, right? What is initialization? I can't give 2000 because if I was to give 2000, I was mentioning who are greater than 2000, but I want to get everyone's age. So I'll start from which one? 0. Okay. So now, so what I'll do? Console.log of real age is. Okay. Come on. What is the function I need to pass? What is the year I need to pass? Tell what I need to pass here. చెప్పే కెమెరా అప్పుడు ఎందుకు అరవకుండా కదా అరిపించి చంపేస్తారు ఒరిజినల్ ఏజ్ ఐ గెస్ ఐ త్రూ ఇట్ త్రూ ఎర్రర్ ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్ స్టూడెంట్ ఈస్ నాట్ డిఫైన్డ్ student is not defined. Line number 175. Why? Students dot reduce total comma age total plus present year. Okay. Student dot here we can correct only, right? Here is also passing properly. But we made mistake. What is the mistake we did? Check. Hmm? Pardon? I didn't get your voice, Abba. Be little loud. What you're telling? Hmm. Okay, you're telling we are not accessing param here. Okay, if you check in that way, did I pass anywhere parameters before? No, right? Yeah. So there is something we missed. I was reduce is correct only. So let me write. Total is not a key or parameter. It's a default word we have in generally if you say. However, we have like a new date and all. So in the same way, we have a total word. Yeah. Present year minus. Correct only we are passing now. Why the? Hmm? Actually, not year, age actually. Sorry. Hey, year also we can take. We have year, right? What? Actually, I want year only, not age. Not a number. I was getting error. It's not the proper way. We are not passing. It's not correct. Okay, of course it will not correct. I'll do one thing. Let's use technology. Where is ChatGPT? ChatGPT. Hmm? Hmm. Login. Okay, where is it? Huh? Something issue is there. Let us get the I was getting I don't have patience anymore to search. Anybody have idea what this dot 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 student means? Hmm? Anybody have idea? Dot dot triple dot student I given here. Anybody have idea what it means? It's called a spread operator. Did you remember? Did you check anyone? You know, I was getting. I made few. I didn't made. ChatGPT mother made few changes to the code. I don't want to. Okay, let me do one thing. So I can even do this with reduce also. You can take any method you want to take. Yeah. So what we are doing, you just dot reduce you are using resultant student present element dot push. So what this dot dot student will take is it's like generally we'll call as a what I said spread operator. So spread operator will make sure ensure that we retain all the original properties of the object. For example, I was taking that object, okay. So but I was trying to modify that object. So if you see the output, what is the output we got here? We got one more attribute got added called one more property real age. So it was not there before with the original data, but we are adding it. So whenever I was trying to do these type of modifications, just take a general example. For example, you are getting a JSON data, and for every student, you want to add like dynamic roll number based on the alphabets. Okay. Already I was getting what I'll do. I'll sort like by using some methods. By using sort, I'll get alphabets orders, and then I need to give numbers. Like for series, I will be starting from 691 something. So I need to give order-wise, I need to give, it's a new future, I need to add it, new parameter, I need to pass into that object. So when I was passing, I can't be, I have to make sure that the old property should not be get affected, right? Every time whenever I pull a value, for example, 10 users, 10 students are there. If I'm pulling the second student details, I already changed the first student details. So I should make sure that it is not affected with the first student details. So I should check whether it has the original data or not. So that's what usually spread operators will help us to do. So every time it will make ensure that the original data of that particular object is available or not. Clear? So that's what usually spread operator will do. That's what it will do. But here how it was helping, as I was pushing a new data into this. Where is it? New data I was pushing it. So what I was doing, see, result dot push. Using a push method, I was pushing this real age. Before pushing my real age, I was just checking whether original data is there or not. For example, even if I remove this, let's see what will be my output. What is the output I was getting? I was just getting only my individual data because I don't have the original data there. Every time I will be taking real age one parameter where I need to pass. With my original data, I need to pass. So with my original data, I need to pass. I need to have that particular argument there, right? Parameter. So that was called as this operator. This operator is what? Handling that whole original object. So now if you go and see my whole original operator it was giving. My whole original object is holding by this spread operator and a new parameter is handling by this real age. Remaining all you already know what dot reduce, what this minus and all, right? Clear? Anybody have any doubts here? Sure. So totally how many types of functions we discussed? I guess 10. 10. 10. Tell me what are the apart from these we discussed. What else we discussed? Callback functions we discussed. The functions. Brain illilla artha agide. Sumne iri. So callback functions. Then what we discussed? 9. See, there is one particular type of function I forgot to mention you people. So like it is a higher order functions. Anybody heard about it? No. We already did that. We given the example, but the name will be called with a different way. Interview they'll give two syntaxes and they'll tell what is the type of function they'll ask. Okay, so what is this higher order functions are that can take other functions as the arguments. See, for example, if you whatever the functions you've seen so far are able to pass one function as a parameter. See, parameters you can pass, but are you able to pass one function only as a parameter? Did we see so far? We can't. See, apart from higher order functions, no other functions will give us the privilege of passing a function only as a parameter. Okay, that means, let me write an example. Okay, so let me take function double. Okay, so I was passing one parameter here, right? Double is my function name and parameter is x. Okay, be careful. So now I want to return x into 2. Just imagine I want to multiply. So what I'll do, I'll create one more thing like I'll take function one more square. Return x into x. Okay. So now what I'll do, constant numbers numerics. Okay. I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've taken 5 numbers, an array, simply to say. So now constant doubled numbers is equal to, I'll take like operate on array. Okay. Numbers, comma, double. Numbers are numerics. Numerics because first habitat numerics. So then what I'll do, console.log of double numbers. Okay. So now tell me what will be the output I'll get by using this. What will be the output? What will be the output? Will I get any output? Why? Is there any function there? That's why. That's what I was asking. What is the output we'll get? Blindly don't keep calm. At least try to find errors. Okay. So let me create a function first. My function name will be, what is the function name? Okay, when I was passing two parameters, that will be my function name. Nah. Yeah. So let me create function and I'll pass parameters. So what is the parameters I need to pass? What is the parameters? నేను simple example తీసుకుంటా ఉండండి. Give a basic example for the higher order function. I don't have patience to. Okay. A is such a killing bot. See, whatever we are just searching in our local, the AI is able to check it off. So 10, 15. Okay. So if you see here, multiplier 2, multiplier 3 we have. So where it is? The higher order in the sense, the same way, what we say callback, you remember. So what we are doing in the callback? Sorry, not callback, hosting. So what we are doing in the hosting? So here generally what it was doing, higher order in the sense, I have a function named multiplier, right? So and I was passing a parameter called just factor something. Okay. So I was passing. So this parameter I was accessing from which one? Here. So now if you see, I was just passing my whole function, okay, into a, what I was doing, one argument. Am I passing here or not? It is also one parameter, multiplier of 2. Am I passing here or not? So if you tell more clearly, I was not getting words to explain. I'll just brief it off, but let's check with examples. Okay, so generally what is meant by higher order functions is, So a functions generally will create, you may give any type of arguments. Okay, you may give 2 arguments, 10 arguments you will give. But no function will allow you to give the another function as a parameter inside of it, like directly accessing. But whenever you are creating higher order functions, okay, so it can be possible whenever you are passing any function that is capable of accessing the function only as a parameter. So those type of functions will be called as the higher order functions. So that means I already have running with one function. My whole function in either 2 lines or 100 lines. I was using that 100 lines of output or else that function as one parameter, simple parameter in my other function. So those type of functions will be called as the higher order functions. You people try to check your own examples, what you understand. I was not getting any more patience. Okay. So far we discussed 11 or 10? 10, sure. This cursor, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 10 types of functions. So far, whatever we discussed, anybody have any doubts? So sometimes maybe you will get undefined errors, like something if you are getting, don't get confused like why it was getting like this. So first go through this compilation and execution phase. Try to understand how it will basically work. There are 6 stages in the compilation phase. Again, okay, again execution have 3 stages. Okay, so try to check how compilation is working, how execution is working. Execution is the output, what you will see. Compilation is the output that system will see before giving to the execution. Clear? So then try to check each and every, for every function, try to take a generalized example. Try to create by yourself. Don't take like whatever we did here in class, don't take such examples. Okay. So try to take some practical examples. Okay. And try to execute it. Clear? If anybody have any doubts, ask tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow we'll discuss bomb and async some I'll explain. I'll tell you the topics. Clear? Anybody have any doubts? Yes, so that's what about today's session. Have a nice day. Go and have your lunch. Bye bye.